Hi.
Hi, Javon. We are live.
I believe we're live. I don't know. I think we're live.
We're live.
Are we live? All right.
We're
Well,
live.
we're alive. I don't know if anyone can see us, but we are definitely live.
Yeah, now that part I don't know if
Ooh.
we're on LinkedIn or where we are. Where are we?
We're not on LinkedIn. I had
Are
some
we?
issues with LinkedIn, but we should
Okay.
be on Facebook.
Okay. All
Is that
righty
you?
then. No, I don't know what that was. My phone is coughing.
Your phone is talking? Oh
Phone was
my,
coughing.
that's weird.
Let me see if that's you us on anyway, how are you, Javon?
Crystal, I'm good, man. I tell you, after all of that, I'm gonna have a great day. I mean, it was a great day. I got a chance to hang out with you for a little bit, but this has been exciting this last 10 minutes or so. And we're at the
Okay.
deal. We have to do it, or we're gonna not. They're gonna say goodbye. Those guys, they don't play.
So we ready to go on nothing
I think
crazy.
we're ready to go.
Okay, okay. We didn't I didn't see you I last week. Was just a crazy week. A lot of events going on. It's just February. I think every organization that I am connected to, everyone had a Black History Month event. Some of them I couldn't get to. Um, one I had to get to. So some I just had to wave to them on social media after the fact because
Yeah,
my work schedule just would not allow me
yeah,
to be there. So
yeah. I
and
don't know
next
if I told you. I think I invited you a little bit ago to the Black Caucus of Orange County. Did I invite you to that? They had an event.
you may have, but
Um,
I
it
think you
was
may have.
pretty interesting. And
Okay.
I don't think you know this or not, but I'm not a huge bicyclist, but I'm a recreational bicycler.
Oh,
So,
motorcycle, right?
well,
Or
I
regular
do the
both?
regular bicycle. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know about the bicycle. I knew about that your motorcycle.
yeah, I like to.
Yeah.
So, I've ridden the MS 150 a few times, that kind of thing.
Oh,
I like
oh
to do
my
that.
goodness. So you the real deal.
Well, no, I don't race. I just ride, and it's been a while. In fact, I just
Okay.
got a new bicycle. I got it
Okay.
used from someone, and uh, you know, um, I was listening to this comedian on YouTube or somewhere like that,
Uh-huh.
and she says to this guy, she's got this lovely Southern accent. She says to this guy at the store, she says, whatever his name is, Skylar, whatever. I love this bike. I want to buy this bike, but I can't handle that seat. And
Mm.
Skylar says, no problem, no problem. He runs back and he gets her another seat that looks exactly like that seat. And of course, the seat that she had this trough down the middle of it.
Uh-huh.
And she said, Skylar, I have birthed three humans inside this body. And the place where that seat is supposed to go it's not going to fit there. I think something else. At which time Skylar just went, oh, and ran away. and and he says that the woman, so this another gentleman comes who was a bit older than the first gentleman,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, this seat that's on this bicycle seat, it's just not going to work. And the guy looks at her and says, how many children have you had? And she says, three. He says, I gotcha. So he runs back and he brings back this beautiful seat with gel inserts and all kinds of
Oh,
little.
there you go. There you go. The right kind of seat.
My wife, yeah, he goes, my wife has had three kids and she loves this seat. And I think she might be in your walking group. And I'm looking at the seat I've got and I tried it out and I went, oh, Lordy, 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 where did those muscles come from? That was not good, but it's going to happen. I know it happened once.
So you go that's I think the most excruciating part of bicycling is the seat. So I don't do the racer. I do have a all-terrain bike.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
Well,
so
the
we
thing is, once you get used to the seat, then it's fine. But you have to get used to
it
it.
require that's a break-in point that may not happen.
It may not happen for some
Yeah,
people. It just
I
doesn't
have one
happen.
of those comfy seats.
Yeah,
I,
that's
I
good.
put-
Yeah.
when I bought my bike, I took off that seat when found me a new comfy seat. So my
Hmm.
family and I used to ride around, and we stopped actually, and every now and then I'll put my bike on the back in the back rack and drive and go down to the marina and ride from the marina down to Manhattan or
Good
Hermosa
deal.
or
Yeah,
Redondo Beach.
yeah,
Not as much in the last year, but before pandemic, we used to ride all the time.
yeah, yeah.
It's good exercise.
Isn't it amazing? We have these things called this time period before pandemic, BP.
Yeah, before the
And-
pandemic. Yeah, we used to ride all the time. Actually, I rode that was what I did during the pandemic. I did ride during the pandemic because that was the only way to get out. You could go to the beach and you
Yeah.
could be around people, and it's such a it's open outdoors. So I did
Yeah.
ride a couple of times
Oh,
and meet a
cool.
couple. Yeah, there was lots of people down there. So um I don't think I did it last year. I just didn't have enough time. This year I might incorporate some bike riding. Excellent exercise though, and that's one of the things I'm working on this year is self care. So that requires exercise and time for self. And
Yes. Good for
yeah,
you.
so I'm
Good for
even
you.
going to try some cycling or water aerobics.
Some water aerobics,
Yeah, bicycle, a
cycling,
stationary
water
bike,
aerobics in the water.
in the water. A cycle. They put stationary bike in the water,
Interesting.
and it's like cycling, but it's in the water. So in water that you don't carry, your weight is floating. So I'm gonna give that a shot. There's a spot
Good for you. Well, let me
in
know how that
Lawndale.
goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you might like that. It'd be
No,
great
I'm not doing
workout.
it. I'm not. I mean, God bless you. I firmly believe that the best exercise out there is the one that you will do.
Yes.
So if it gets you out there on the bike, yay, awesome,
Yay.
awesome,
Yay.
awesome.
All
Be there
righty.
with the French fries. Okay, so today
What we talking today?
so as a surprise, I took one of your suggestions. It's the one that we had last week.
Okay. Okay.
3 things you want to watch out for, or 3 things that I wanted to talk with you about
Okay.
that you should keep in mind or let go of. Let's put it that way. So how about this? I'll read your bio first, and
Okay.
then we'll jump into it. And
All
I'll
right,
give you the
sounds good.
3 things. Let's see. I'll tell you the 3 things first so you can think about them. One is 3 things you have to give up. One is stuff. The second is high-paying, rewarding career, and the other is disposable income. So we'll talk about all those.
Okay.
Are you ready for your bio?
I am.
Here we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to welcome once again my friend and colleague, Crystal Mitchell, to the show. Crystal. Good Lord. Crystal is a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, co-host of The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, a weekly online radio show. She's an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, also a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and last but not least, a QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. Hello, Crystal. Nice to see you.
Hello, how are you? Good to be here, everyone. Good to be here. So talking about one of our favorite subjects on helping you prepare for retirement.
Yeah.
Now you're telling me I gotta give up something when I retire, man. What the heck are you talking about?
Right? It ain't all that. It ain't all having I always say having everything means making some decisions about what you're
giving up something. Is that what you say?
The first thing is so tough for so many folks, and I'm actually finding myself in that position because I want to move to Long Beach, is stuff. For
Ah.
most of us, downsizing is the thing to do. We've got to get rid of some stuff, and that is tough. Right now,
Mhm.
I'm thinking I have to give up my barbecue grill, Lucille, and neither of us is going to be happy about that.
Well, wait a minute. Where you why would you have to give up Lucille? To wherever you go and don't have a patio, or you're not looking for a place with a patio?
I'm looking for a place with a patio, but Lucille, bless her heart, is a gas grill. I'm sorry, is a charcoal grill. I only cook
Oh,
on charcoal.
okay.
So I can't use the charcoal grill in Long Beach
Really? Oh, is that an
unless,
ordinance?
well, in an apartment. I mean, I could
Oh,
have had a house, of course,
okay.
and
Okay.
that's a horse of a different color. But yeah, I'm thinking of moving into an apartment, multi-unit dwelling, family unit dwelling, lots of people in one place, one
Okay.
building, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And Long Beach has put the kibosh on the charcoal grill. Apparently, people have been setting things on fire out there, so they're not letting that happen anymore.
Oh.
So I have to give up my grill, and I don't know if you know this, but that's a big part of my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, gotta give up the grill. So when you retire, stuff like that happens. For most of us, we're going to downsize into some place. I think if I downsize, it would be I'd have to move in with my car. But so, well, so most of us have to downsize,
Into the
and
garage, huh?
right, most of us have to downsize, and that means giving up your stuff, and that's kind of tough for people,
Yeah.
right? But as I mean, it's just hard to believe, but I did work with a lady once that um, I don't know if she was one of the best managers I ever had. She was really really super cool lady. You needed to toe the line,
Okay.
but she was very cool. And she said when she retired, and I'm pretty sure I got this right, that she wanted to live in a one room house on the beach with a cement floor so that every once in a while she could wake up, hose it down, and go sit on her front porch and watch the water. That's all she wanted to do in retirement.
Okie dokie. Well, I
Yeah,
love the fact that I like the um at the beach, and I guess if
yeah.
you're at right on the beach, you could go
Hello.
with a one bedroom.
Yeah.
I don't know
One
about
room, not
one
bedroom,
room.
one
Oh,
room,
oh no, I
one
can't never
room.
do a one
That was
room.
that was like husband, children, grandkids. No, that's not happening.
Yeah, no, I can't do no one
She's
room.
got one room on the beach. Hose and sweep
Wow.
it out. Sweep it out. Hose it out. Actually, she would hose it
Unless,
out.
unless your one room on the beach was a beautiful shack in the Caribbean, and it was you minimized just so that every day you walk up, you got banana trees outside your door and the ocean waves. Yeah, then I could give up.
Can
Yeah.
you ink that? Can you ink that? That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, in the Caribbean
In the
on a beach
Caribbean,
in the tropics
yeah.
where you can have you can live in a lean-to and it'd be
Hello.
okay. But here in California, no.
No, that's not here in Cali. Not here in Cali. Okay, so for retirement, that for a lot of us, that means we got to give up some stuff. Maybe an extra car. Maybe we have to give up
Mm,
that camper van.
mm.
Um, and I talk to a lot of people that want to travel the country and do all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure you have too. But it is something we have to take a look at. We have to think about. I need to give up this stuff, and sometimes giving up that stuff means that you get to save a little money. So if you give up, if your goal is to travel and you give up your Lucille, God rest her soul, then maybe you have a little extra fundage there.
Well, if you give up your house now, so when my mom's when back in the day, not my mother, but her friends, when they all retired, they sold their homes and they moved to Vegas at the time. That was the exodus from Los Angeles to Vegas. So they got a,
Mhm.
apartment or condo, small little condo, I think. But basically they had these big, huge motorhomes. And so that's how they traveled. So most of the time, they didn't even buy the condo. They were renting. At that time, rent was next to nothing. And so they spent probably 7 or 8 months on the road.
It's a beautiful country, and there's a lot of it that you
Mm-hmm.
can
They
use as
stayed
a
at
jump to.
campsites,
Yeah.
and it was a couple of them. There was several of them that belonged to a motorhome club, and that's what they did. And that was their retirement. They had their money. They could travel to go see their grandkids, stay in a motorhome parks, and not infringe on the families, and then move on to the next family. And that's pretty much what they did. And then in Vegas, they could even, I think one gave up everything. They just lived in their motorhome and they just traveled up and down and across the country. I assume until the day they went on to the glory, because at
Wow.
this point they probably would be in the glory. But
Yeah.
that was what their retirement life looked like. So,
And
uh,
now it's even easier to do. Now you can do that. My niece and her fiance at the time, they went traveling in a motorhome, and I thought, my goodness, working as well, right? They just gave up their apartment house thing, bought themselves a
mhm,
motorhome, and it wasn't a very big motorhome,
mhm.
but they did it. And I thought, wow, if your relationship can survive a motorhome for a number of months, and I think they were gone for almost a year. I mean, they were out there
They
doing
were
it.
gone because there's some campsites that you can stay for 30 days, and there are others you can stay 10 days max and move out, come back. If
Mhm.
the and the campsite is geared with all of the conveniences. If
Sure.
and your motorhomes usually have generators and showers. Their houses are actually on wheels. So yeah. And then I have some friends right now in their retirement. Their family lives on the East Coast, so they Airbnb their house
Okay.
and they travel out and spend a lot of time with their children, her grandchildren, and the daughter travels, and so she travels with them, and she goes all out of the country. She's in Asia quite often, so that's their retirement. So you could be giving up, but then on the other side, the minimizing of that. If you look at it, if you Airbnb your home and you have your gardener and stuff, but you're Airbnb for $3 and $4 and $7,000 a week. You're using your house as an asset now, and still get to travel. So I guess it just depends on what give up means to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a very nice way to put it. So, got to give some stuff up. Number two on the list
Uh
is,
huh.
I have to check my notes.
Okay.
Uh, Number two on the list is the high paying, rewarding job. So many
Mm.
of us, even if we don't have a high paying, rewarding, great job, we think it might be. We think it's high paying and rewarding. And so many times moving into retirement means giving that up. And I think that's tough because we've talked on our broadcast here a couple of times about the emotional connection that folks have to their jobs.
Right.
I think in the article that you sent me, the caption was, "You are not your job." Right. So, whatever your job is, that's not you, especially once you retire. That is gone. So, you're not going to work anymore every morning. You can't say, I'm a this, so I do that. That's not happening.
Right.
And for a lot of folks, I mean, I would say, especially of the generation before mine and yours, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you're younger than me. That generation, um, they went to work as sometimes just to feed their families, but often their work defined them.
Yeah.
And I remember when I went to school, what do you want to be? You want to be a this, or this, or this? And then so many of us were like, well, we want to be a successful human first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now as things have even gone along, that does or does not include your vocation, right? And
Right.
so
Exactly.
there's some of us that are defined by what we do, and then some of us that aren't. And for those of us that are defined by what we do, unless you have a really good relationship with yourself and that thing, leaving it can be tough. You're not there, you're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, and I think if it's that type of if you worked in an occupation or an industry that's all encumbersome, like if you're an attorney or a doctor
Hmm.
or somebody of that nature, it's very difficult. I think more so with men than women, because women tend to have other when they have their children, they have girlfriends, and somewhere in there they may not be as much of a workaholic as their husbands, but a lot of men identify themselves with their job, especially if it's a high paying, glamorous type of, or it gives them prestige. They have a hard time adjusting. I think when a man tells his wife, "Okay, I'm going to be retiring soon," she's like, "Oh my God, that means you're going to be around the house." So I need to keep you busy, dude, because you're gonna get all up in my way. So because she's had control of the household. So yeah, I agree. And as I tell my entrepreneurs, when you leave a corporate job and you go work for yourself, there's no guarantee that, I mean, that paycheck that was coming in every 10 days is no longer coming in eight every 10 days.
Yep.
And now, even as a retirement, is more on a monthly basis, right? It's not necessarily it's coming in your Social Security and whatever other dividends you have coming in. Your It's coming in once a month, so you got to learn how to manage the once a month, unless you
Yeah.
have some other money streaming through.
Well, you'd be surprised. Nowadays things are a bit more. We have computers now, so we can get money.
Yeah.
You can have your money come in whatever increments that you want.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So yeah, as long as you,
it's a bit
that
more.
would be the only thing,
Yeah.
right?
It's kind of cool that we're talking about this now. This you're not that job anymore, because you help so many folks that are on their second chapter, right? So
Yeah.
they've got a job and they're transitioning to another job, and you know it's one thing to have a to work with great people that can accomplish things, and it's another thing to be an army of one, and
Hmm.
that can be a tough transition there. So it's good to get ready for that. So if you're thinking about being an army of one, it'd be good to set that up so that your one isn't just a
Your
single
one.
one.
Yeah.
maybe it's
Yeah.
a maybe it's a part-time one sometime, but there's some help coming in here somewhere.
Exactly. Now I have a couple of clients that their family is generational real estate ownership. And so even though they worked for corporate America, and when they retired from corporate America, it was just a philosophy in their family. And every member of this family that I know of all have income property as an investment. So
Hmm.
now they are living and managing their income property.
Hmm.
And yeah, but it's all, really the rents come in, and the tenants have been there for such a long time. So it's no, the tenants are sending their money electronically. So you don't really have to be there. It's just going to go into the bank, and
Yeah.
you have your team of a worker. So for those of you that are just starting out, that's the best kind of retirement I can think of. A little late for those of us that have been out here already, but if
Yeah.
you can, and that it don't have to be here in the state of California where everything is so ridiculously expensive. But go out there and get you some income property. That's what I say.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Income
you
property is a
you
good thing.
right? Because you can, if you have multiple units, you can downsize from your home, sell your home,
Hmm.
and live in one of your units and manage that and do your thing. And if you have more than one or two buildings, if you have more, one or two or three buildings, that's the way to go. So anybody in their 30s and they're making good money in the tech industry, That's what you need to be doing with your money right now.
Straight from Crystal Mitchell.
Real estate, man. Real estate.
Crystal can do that. I cannot give advice. I'm not saying that's what you should do.
Right, you
You're
can't
never
say
going to
that.
catch me doing that, but I'm glad you did. Make sure we put that disclosure out there. Yvonne did not say that.
Yeah, that's from a personal standpoint.
Now, I would say sound advice as it is.
Yes.
I'm definitely not saying don't do that.
Right. But you can't tell them to do that. But
I'm definitely not saying don't do that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And the last one, of course, is what did I say the last one was? Oh, yes. The last one is oh yeah, this is the one that gets us. It's that whole disposable income thing. That's the one that's kind of tough because when you know that paycheck is coming in, then you spend it before you actually get it into your hot little hands. But when we have when we're on a fixed income, for example, that doesn't necessarily bode well. So for some of us that retire, we get less income than we had when we were, and the ability just to go out and buy dinner and just to go out and do this. Well, we have to make a budget for that. We have to prepare for it in many instances. And that can be kind of tough, I think that's one of the reasons why we have some folks that decide they're never going to retire and they get a little part-time gig so that they can have, some disposable income in there.
I've heard someone say that. It's like, okay, I'm gonna retire. I guess I'm gonna be a greeter at Walmart. Because of course they want that mindless job. They don't want a job that they have to do overthinking with it.
Right.
But I guess it comes down to, Javon, is what you are always saying. It's all about that plan, right? Knowing that you may have to make some adjustments, but the adjustments don't have to be so difficult or so such a big sacrifice if you really plan it out. So that's where, that's why I always talk to people. If you're retiring, before you retire, get the second act going on. Because if you have a retirement coming in, a monthly money coming into the household that will take care of your basic needs, then it's not like working where every dime you're just hustling because every dime's got to take care of the roof over your house, over your head, or the what have you. That becomes a little bit more playful because your basic needs are already met, and you don't live outside of your means. So you're the giving up parts. There are certain things you're probably not going to go out and buy a pair of shoes or a purse frivolously. Yes. But I think everybody should be able to treat themselves to dinner occasionally.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the thing is you want to get ready for that, right? So, okay. Aside from being bored because you don't have anything to do, your disposable income may decrease. And so you want to get ready for that. And that could be a change from going to the gym to walking your neighborhood or something like that. But it is something for folks to think of. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, okay, this is something we have to plan. And I'm always saying, you can always change the plan. The thing, you have to have a starting point though. And that's the problem I think so many folks have is we don't know where to start. And we're afraid that we're going to mess something up, or we're afraid that we're not going to get all that's coming to us. I remember seeing a presentation where someone said, well, Social Security is X. If you start now, then you're only going to get this much, in total. Whereas if you go here, you'll get this much in total. And it wasn't even about your check's going to be bigger. It was more about how much can you get back from the government based on when you start, which was kind of interesting. But we like that disposable income. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a very, very good thing.
Yeah. The other thing, go ahead.
I think also, making sure, it's what we've talked about. You have to, what does retirement before you even retire, what's the vision? Like you said, your ex-boss, she wanted to live in a one room with a concrete floor. So basically her
With
needs were
big doors, so she can like
it was
hose
big
it
door.
out.
We're hosing out big door.
Hose it
But
out.
basically her needs were going to be very small. I mean, she
Mhm.
was going minimal. She was going to be a minimalist by this point, right? Because
Oh yeah.
obviously you got to have wash and wear furniture as well if you're going to wash out the sand. So
I think it's all plastic.
right, all plastic, right? So understanding what does that life look like, after retirement. So and
Mhm.
not just and so we talk about the big job, but a lot of people, especially in California and some places in the Midwest and the South, their homes are very important to them. They've put a lot of time and energy to creating these homes that's their entertainment space, and they always wanted the big kitchen and the
Mhm.
family room off the so some of that might change,
Oh, most
right?
definitely. Most
Yeah,
definitely.
so some of that might change. So I think you have to realistically be realistic with yourself. What does retirement really look like for you?
Yeah, and I think if you make that a fun thing, what not only what does retirement look like, but what can it look like? Where can we go? What can we do? What kind of package can we put together? I was just reading an article this morning. Reading an article this morning, preparing for next week's broadcast, when
Mhm.
they were talking about places to retire. And there are lots of places here in the US and outside of the US, actually, that could be more suitable for your needs,
Mhm.
monetarily, healthcare wise,
Mhm.
weather wise, wherever, whatever. If you grew up in a place where it's rainy and snowy all the time, you might like sunshine, or
Mhm.
vice versa, right?
Mhm.
So I think the idea is to start planning early. I do have to tell you one story. I used to do those education meetings.
Mhm.
Now I'm traveling around the country doing that, and I get to this place, and I like to sort of talk to the audience. So I'm sitting around, and this was a very relaxed business. We're all kind of like sitting around in the coffee shop, coffee
Mhm.
room,
Mhm.
lunchroom thing. So I started off saying, "So what do you want to do when you retire?" And the typical answers are, I want to get a motorhome and travel the country. I want to travel is very big. I want to travel. I
Mhm.
want to stay
Mhm.
with my grandkids. I've got them all over the country, and I'd like to just go from one to the other.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
another one was, I just want to sit at home and watch TV and just rest. I want to just rest. And this one guy says, he goes, move in with mom.
Wait, wait. So he's retiring and he's
Right.
moving in with
He's
80 or
moving in with
90-year-old mom. So I
mom.
assume that means he's going to take care of mom, because I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
mom can take
I don't
care of
know.
him.
Yeah. But I hit the floor. And I tell you, I was laughing so hard when he said that throughout the rest of the meeting, I could not even keep a straight face. And finally, the owner of the company comes up to me. He says, "That one really got you, didn't it?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah.
Why? Did you envision him moving back into his childhood room with a twin bed?
I had no idea. I was just the idea. I mean, it just took me back. So just shocked me. I was so used to other ideas. And
Right.
this one said moved in with mom. I'm like, oh my goodness. First of all, I know my mother. She was alive back then. That was not happening. I could move a lot of places, but back in with mom was not one of them.
Right, that's the don't
I thought
child,
it was
don't
very
even,
funny.
unless you coming in to take care of mom. But maybe that's
Maybe,
what he was really saying. But
maybe.
that's it. You think about, if like right where I am right now, and my very hectic beginning of this end of last year, beginning of this year, I would say, maybe I'd become a public, I speak now, but a speaker that I travel around, do my little speech, write my little book so I have something to sell, my little 10 chapter book, and then I
Okay.
just go from place to place speaking all the way around the world, collect
I
my
would say
tens.
I'd pay $3 to hear you. Sure.
and there you go. That I could do that kind of
You
life.
could do that. That wouldn't be too bad. I hear you. Just espouse your wisdom
And right, espouse
all
my
around
wisdom.
the world.
You
I don't
got a
have a problem with
computer.
that.
You
I
can
don't have a problem
compute.
with that at
You
all.
you communicate with everybody using your Facebook and your Instagram.
There you go. Well, I do have another thing I wanted to bring up. Um,
Okay.
as you know, we have the Security Act 2.0, some
Mm-hmm.
legislative changes that have happened with retirement plans.
Mm,
There's 5 to 6 of them that I think are extremely important because A, they're effective this year. That makes them important. And then
okay.
some of them affect some of the clients that we have. And along this topic of things to watch out for when you retire is the requested required minimum distribution that you can take from your 401k or your IRA. And
Mm,
starting this year, those ages are increasing, right? So you used to be able to get, I'm sorry, the time period that when you can take them is increasing, put it that way.
mm.
So it used to be 70. And of course, as you know, last year they changed that to 72. I believe this year they're going to go to 73 and eventually up to 75, which means to folks that a couple of things. It means number one, if you're going to work until you can start taking your required minimum distributions, that means that you can stretch that out to maybe sometime past 65 to 70 to
Mm-hmm.
73
Mm-hmm.
or so, right? Which is going to help a lot of people save for retirement. The other is that um, there should be, if you're going to work and you're going to not put that money in Social Security, you're not going to take that. I'm sorry, you're not going to take that money from Social Security. You get more money in
Mm.
Social Security, right? I mean,
Okay.
the way the schedule is now, that most people wait if they're going to wait for the fullest amount possible. How about if I put it this way? You don't get more money if you start using Social Security after 70, right? So if you wait till
Oh,
75, you don't get more money. For most of
okay.
it, it's 60, 60, 65, 67, 67, 68 for most of us
Mm-hmm.
in our 50s or so. So it's very conceivable that someone might say, okay, I'll just work until Social Security starts paying, and I have to start taking money out of my 401k plan. So I have to start taking it out at um, depending on what year it is, maybe 73. Here's the kicker, though.
Mm.
Here's the kicker. If you're fortunate enough to work for someone else in your second chapter,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to take your required minimum distribution as long as you have a 401k at that company and you have all of your money, all of your 401k assets in that one 401k at that one company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The caveat is
Mm.
you can't own the company.
You can't own
As
the
long as you're
company.
an employee of that company, you can avoid the required minimum distribution from that company's 401k. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so there's a lot of us that if A, we're going to raise the age that we can, quote unquote, start collecting Social Security till 65 or 66 or 67, or maybe even later than that, 68 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
number two, we can avoid the required minimum distribution, or we're not subject to a required minimum distribution until 73 or 74 or eventually 75. Now we've got some more money to put in our retirement booty and kitty and to have those
Okay.
discussions about what we're going to do and where we're going to go, uh, those kinds of situations.
Let me ask this. There's been a lot of banter back and forth with this new administration or the new house on um their reducing Medicare and Social Security and Medicare seems to be the top topic for the GOP right now. Either I've even heard eliminating it and reallocating the funds that we paid into it to some other branch in the government. How I mean, that must have quite a few people that are in that space right now, ready to retire. You're pretty uncomfortable. Are you getting any calls, or are there any concerns, or is it just hyperbole that, you know, that's a political talking point?
You know, well, I
What is
have,
your industry? How is your industry
yeah,
handling all of the hoopla?
yeah. We don't know. I don't know anybody that knows. No, no, we had no crystal ball. We don't know.
Right.
We have prognostications, right? We
Hmm.
have those
Hmm.
kinds of things,
Hmm.
but nobody knows for sure. So I can't say for sure. Maybe over a beer we can talk about that.
Right, 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 right.
There's nothing I would want to broadcast about that. But I will say this: it is a major concern for a lot of Americans. You know, it's very difficult to take something away that people have been not only enjoying but relying upon, being in their future. And I would find it I would find it very difficult for Social Security and Medicare to, as one political operative suggested, sunset, right?
Yeah.
Or go into private hands. I would think that would be really, really, really difficult to do in this country. But I've seen no papers, no opinions, no nothing on that. I
So
think,
just it could be just hyper, because I mean, technically, what, since both, from the employer side and the employee side, those are monies that are being deducted from your paycheck, um, and matched by your employer. So it's not like they're giving you anything. It's not a government subsidy. It's a
have you
subsidy.
paid
It's
for
a
it?
right. It's like you putting into your savings account, like your retirement plan, right? But you've been
Yeah,
doing this since you were, old enough to work. And so when you get those quarters in, those 10 quarters in, now you have eligibility for that. So just that, I would think, if, especially someone that doesn't have the wherewithal or the means to actually have a second act, right?
yeah,
That their whole work life, they've been living on the edge or barely making enough to survive anyhow, and so it's not even gonna look that pretty when they retire.
well
um,
said.
right? And so now you're basically saying, no, we're going to sunset that. You're not even going to have that. Excuse me?
Yeah, I think there's, between you, me, and the fence post, and all the other people that are watching, I think that's a far cry from reality. I think,
Yeah.
we can say things like that, but what's your plan afterwards? I mean, you get all emotional and excited about that, but we are affecting a group of people that A, are our grandparents for the most part, and B, who vote,
Yes.
right? So the chances that someone's going to stay in office that agree to that, I think, would be pretty slim. But anyway, so that's that. Yeah, we don't have
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's just retirement, and that just the afterlife, especially in a time when everything is so expensive, and people, the average human being is doing just, they're barely surviving with a job. Um,
Yes.
Right. So without a job, or, retired, especially if there's forced retirement, um, then you'll have no choice. It's not like you can continually stay there. Certain occupations, I have a friend that's turning 65. So this is mandatory retirement age. He's a pilot. So that's it. He's done. I mean, I
Yeah.
think he's got about 30 days left.
Mm.
And so it's a mandatory retirement for pilots to
Hmm.
retire at 65. So there are certain industries that there is no other choice.
Yeah, and he's probably a virile, well, well taken care of person,
Right.
but you know, it's time to go. You're getting up there. It's time to go. It's
Yeah.
not like, walking around, being a a book reader.
Well, he got your life in his hands.
Right? Flying around places 20, 30,000 feet. That's up there.
To have a dementia moment.
Right? What does that lever do? I used to know. You don't want.
Right.
Exactly. I know for myself, I have that issue. Like, where did I put the keys?
Right. Put something down the other day. I put my remote down and I could not find it. I was like, oh my God. So that's when I knew I had to just take a break because my brain could not find. And then I happened to, it had fallen off the bed and slid up underneath the bed sheet skirt. And I went to step over there and I was like, why is the TV turning channel? I was like, oh, this is where it is. But yeah, so a lot of things that one has to think about, and obviously these conversations have to take place before, not 5 years before you get ready to retire, but conversations that you need to have, long term.
And if you get to do it with your spouse, or someone special to you in your life, how much even the better. The things that you're going to work for together, and like I said, the plan is great to have, and they can change, but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Start with that.
I agree.
You know what? I would like to read your bio, and then I'll give you the last word. How's that?
All righty.
Okay. Well, everyone, you've listened to another Conversations on the Patio with Crystal and myself. And I'm Javon Thomas, Retirement Plan Advisor. And I work with companies that have retirement plans, company-sponsored retirement plans. But this is my friend, Crystal Mitchell. She's a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions. She's a co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, a co-host of The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, another radio show. She's an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for teachers.
What happened? Where'd you go? What happened? Okay. So I'm a business coach and I teach, I've taught at community colleges. And and I'm here to help businesses. I'm a mentor pretty much and business coach to help businesses make their way through the business world, whether they're just starting or creating a business. That's their second act, or this is their lifelong dream to own their own business. So that's pretty much what I do. And our final word, I guess, is preparation. We really have to have a vision on what our retirement looks like. Just like you planned your pre-retirement, your life leading up to you retiring, you need to really be really clear and realistic on what that looks like. Because as we talked about, there may be some things that you may have to downsize. You may want to downsize, but you have to look at what life is like 5-10 years from the time that you retire. Hey, you're back, huh? I finished up my bio.
I'm so glad. I was like, because I saw your picture. I'm like, Crystal, did you hear me?
And then you like gone, or I was gone. I don't know what happened.
There's a whole lot of goneness there.
There was a lot of goneness. Right. So that's basically, I just did a summarize. There you go again. A summary of what we talked about. So just plan, guys. Just envision what you want retirement to look like and make sure you have a plan for that, whatever that is. But know that in this day and age, after retirement, we probably still got another 10, 15 years to go.
Good point. Yeah, most people live in the 90s. So
right, exactly. Okie dokie. So that's it, I guess.
Okay, I'll see you all next week then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.